All right, well, welcome everyone. We're really glad to have so many of you joining us today to learn a little bit more about the Build a Better Book project. As I mentioned earlier, today is really going to be about laying the foundation for the project for those of you who are new to the project and want to learn a little bit more about how you can get started, as well as for some of you who have been working with the project and maybe want to get some more information about some of these different kind of elements that are really helpful in facilitating the project with students. So Kat and I are going to give you a little bit of an overview and we'll have some hands-on things mixed in as well. If you haven't already added yourself to our map that we have in Padlet, we'd love for you to go do that. You can snag this short bit.ly address from the chat. And all you have to do is click the plus and you should be able to search for your city and add yourself to the map. So that'll be a fun way for us to kind of keep tabs on where people are tuning in from today and tomorrow. Kat's got control of the slides here. So just to give you a sense of kind of what we're really hoping to accomplish in this workshop today, we're planning to provide you with an overview of the Build a Better Book project, introduce some of the tools that we've used to design for different audiences and that some of our partners have used. But keep in mind, one of the things that's so great about this project is it's really flexible and can be used in a lot of different ways. So we've had people use this project, whether they have high-tech tools or low-tech tools. There's a lot of possibility to adapt it to whatever your setting is. We're going to share some examples of how Build a Better Book has been facilitated at different sites, show you examples of different student design projects, some resources to help you get started, and also chat with you all, hopefully, to gather input for some future projects. And as I mentioned, the sessions today are really about kind of providing some foundational information. Tomorrow, we're going to be hearing from a lot of our different partners from across the country, which is really exciting for us. We're really handing the conference over tomorrow to a lot of different partners, and they're going to be sharing how they've brought this project to their site, some of the different ways that they've used the project with their students, and then some of our hopes for where we're taking the project moving forward. So that'll be a little bit of a different session tomorrow to give you really a good feel, I think, for some of the different variations that are possible. And I think just to set the stage for both today and tomorrow, at the heart of the Build a Better Book project is really this idea behind providing a real world purpose to this making experience. And so it's really at its heart a design thinking experience for youth to really think about designing for others. How can we learn about others and their needs and their interests and their abilities? And how can we take that information along with different technology skills and really design and improve products that are going to address needs for others? And so I think that's what really resonates with the people that participate in this project. They're really excited to connect maybe some of the technology skills that they're doing in the classroom with students with a real world purpose, either finding clients or partners at their school or in their community, and matching those students, their students, to clients in their community to really help provide a real meaningful aspect to this design experience. All right, so Kat, do you want to move us on?
And yes, I'm going to, I made a note to myself to make sure to share my audio, and then I didn't. So I'm going to reshare my screen real quick.
We have just a short video about the project. This is just a quick 3-minute video. We've made a few videos for an annual STEM for All showcase that is put on every year that highlights different types of K-12 STEM education programs. And so this one we feel provides a really nice overview of Build a Better Book. And so hopefully the video sharing will work.
I know. Let's take it away.
I grew up in India. There weren't too many resources for blind people. My mom played a very important role in my STEM education. She made all my STEM graphics for me with craft materials like foam and twine. We used wiki sticks a lot, and we used raised graph paper. and just like different textures and different textures that we could find around the house to create these diagrams. I think that having a tactile representation actually allows a blind person to build models and actually use their hands to kind of create things, which could give them even a better understanding of a concept.
The Build a Better Book project is designed to engage youth in making in library and community makerspaces by connecting them to the current global need for tactile learning materials, including books, games, and STEM graphics.
Build a Better Book project is, I think, a really awesome opportunity for young designers and young students to be introduced to the notion of universal design and accessibility and multimodal literacy in a way that engages them in using all of their senses to be exploring the world, but then also really learning about different people's abilities and how design can really support people in different ways.
The key points about a tactile diagram is, one, it needs to be bigger, because we as blind people feel with our fingertips, and we want to have enough room to kind of explore a diagram. We don't want it to be too crowded or cluttered. The second point is that we want different textures. So just as for sighted people, color is really important, textures are really important for someone who's blind.
First prototypes of the laser printing, like that we kind of tested on, were super shallow, and she was like, okay, so you need to make the cuts more deeper and make them bigger.
So we've learned about how you have to think from a different point of view, and like instead of colors and shapes, you have to see you have to feel like textures.
The technology was an opportunity to build empathy, and so we did a lot of work dedicated to empathy building, but they're also leaving with these amazing skills that they can take into their lives in all sorts of different ways.
Interested in contributing to the Build a Better Book project? We are now expanding our network using a combination of training workshops with Makerspace.
I might end it there because you guys are learning how to be a part of our network right here. And I can't see you guys anymore, so I'm kind of flying blind here. But yeah, we really,
you can see your slides, so okay.
I can see my slides. I just can't see any of the videos or I can't see any of, yeah, it's all good. I can't get any feedback. I can't see if your videos are on. But yeah, so as the video said, we're really trying to get at this idea of designing for others. And so really empathizing with your client and really defining the idea, getting ideas, iterating on that idea, prototyping, reprototyping, and getting to test it with an actual audience. And we want to take you guys through an experience similar to that. And I'm gonna actually, well, that's fine. What we take our students through is an experience called Extraordinaires. And if we were able to send you a kit of materials, you might have received some of these in your kit. And it starts with sort of getting to know your client. And in this case, the Extraordinaires are these clients that are that have all sorts of different abilities. So you see the ones on the screen, but there's also there's just a bunch more that are in these little kits, and then they come with an idea for a project. So you're either building them a tool or a building or something for them to use for fun. And it also, this kit comes with questions to ask yourself as you're designing for others. And so we are going to take you through this process, and we're going to break you into breakout rooms. I'm going to assign each breakout room to a client. On your screen, and actually I'm going to stop share really quick just so that I can share a different, oh, now I can see you again. Isn't that lovely? I'm going to send you guys a, oh my gosh, I've gotten all messed up here now. I'm going to send you guys a Google Slides. Each slide will have a client to design for, It'll also have, so the back of the card, the front of the card has like a picture of the client, but then the back of the card has some more information about the client. On your slide, you'll see both sides of this card, and you'll be given something to design for that client. In your group, you're going to create something. You can use the whiteboard feature in Zoom to collaboratively draw your thing that you're designing for your special person. And it on your card, also feel free to zoom into the slide, because there a lot of things on the slide are a little bit small, so feel free to zoom in and really check it out. And then there's a think card that comes along with these two that gives you sort of ideas of what to think about when you're designing for these people. So,
and Kat, before
yeah,
you pick them
go
out,
for it.
I just realized I don't think we even introduced ourselves. We just
Oh my gosh,
dove
we
right
just jumped right in
without introducing ourselves. So for those of you who are new to the project, which I think is several of you, I wanted to just interrupt and just take a minute.
It's a really good idea.
Because that, of course, is the first thing that we, of course, wanted to do. My name is Stacey Forsyth, and I'm here together with Kat Penzkover and Gigi Young here at Science Discovery. We're all based at CU Science Discovery at the University of Colorado-Boulder. We're a K-12 STEM education outreach organization, and Build a Better Book is one of the projects that we help manage. We also run a number of summer camps and after-school programs and things like that. But Build a Better Book has really grown into being kind of one of our favorite projects that we've really been able to dedicate a lot of time with. And we've had NSF funding from the National Science Foundation, which has allowed us to support a number of other educators working on the project as well. So if you were able to receive a kit because you're new to the network, or if you've received one in the past because of coming to a PD workshop through us, that's how we're able to support those kits, is through that funding. So really glad to see some new faces here and interested in joining with us. But if you have any questions, feel free at any time to reach out to me or Kat or Gigi. We can all kind of help you out. And in terms of the activity that we're going to be doing, you can either use the whiteboard feature in the breakout room. We can show you how to do that. Or if you're more comfortable, you can also sketch on a piece of paper and just kind of share your ideas with others in your breakout, and then take a quick image of your drawing to upload as well. Either works.
Yeah, so let me
We're
walk
just
you
hoping
through.
to see some of your ideas, or at least hear about some of your ideas that you come up with in your breakout. So Kat, do you think?
Yeah, and in the Google Slides, there's a spot to add your drawing or whatever. If that doesn't work out, that's okay. We can share it. You can just share it on your screen after the little breakout. So
we love doing this activity in in-person workshops, but we have not tried this in a virtual workshop. So
yes, and
I thought it would be fun.
I am creating some breakout rooms now, and you'll either have about 3 people in your breakout room. I made it automatically do it, and so now I feel like I have some people together that know each other a little too well. So I need to mix that up a bit. Okay. First, I'm going to put the link in the chat that hopefully all of you can access this Google slide. And I'll send you to a breakout room. Stacey, it put you in a breakout room too, but feel free to stay here if you'd like, or head to your breakout room. Okay. All good. And in your breakout room, if you're breakout room 1, just go to the first slide. If the Extraordinaires are on odd numbered slides, if you can see. So room 1 will just have Extraordinaire number 1. Room 2 will have Extraordinaire number 3, or it's the second one in the list, and so on. So find an Extraordinaire that no one else is working on, and I will open the rooms, and you guys can design whatever it is for your extraordinary person. Hello. So hopefully you guys got some good drawing done, and maybe if not, maybe just some good discussion about what's going on. Does anybody want to be brave and just share the conversation they had about their extraordinaire? Their extraordinary person. Feel free to, I think you can unmute yourself, or we can help facilitate that if you need.
Reese, do you want to go? Unmute
Oh,
yourself.
Reese, you're muted.
Okay, so Anne and I and one other person, I forgot her first name, saw this
Jeanette.
extraordinaire, Jeanette, very, very tall, seemed like a very empowered person. And the question was like, what would we design for her to sleep in? And I think Anne very, very smartly saw that in one picture, she seemed to have been like knitting, using chain or something. So we thought, or Anne suggested that maybe a hammock that she could put in any different location and would be moved around. But I must say that this activity was a stretch for me. It wasn't really clear like how I would solve that. So I'm glad we had partners.
Yeah, that's a
I
good
just
point. Go ahead, Anne.
I just distinctly remember Reese noticing that she was knitting. That was a good clue for that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this really starts to get you thinking about the needs of others, but and when their needs are not exactly clear sometimes too, right? You're only given a limited amount of information on these cards, and so but having that kind of having a little information, you can expound a little bit on what they need to do, or what their needs might be. But it really gets you out thinking, not a bed for yourself, but a bedroom for someone else, right? So what would that person's needs be? And I do see some people that were talking about the fairy. I see that they're doing some cool drawing on our board here. So does anyone want to talk through what they were talking about? Anyone who had the fairy? Go ahead.
Hi, I'm JC Lucas. Sorry, my name, I'm not able to edit my name. It's my son's name right there right now. But Tracy and Amanda and Lisa and I were talking about the needs of the fairy extraordinaire that we had. And we're trying to decipher what her needs were. And it seems like she needed something to carry a lot of small pieces in that would be protected from weather. And so, and we wanted to use a sustainable material for that. So I believe our material was an elephant leaf, right? Is that right? And
yeah, it was elephant's ear. It was one of the plants that we found. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. We thought that could work well as almost like a flat roll. So then there would be pockets and you could put things in the pockets and then roll the leaf back up.
Nice. That's great. So you were really using, like, it looks like she uses a lot of natural materials in her house and her bedding and everything. So you were using that to sort of influence your design for her something to carry things in was your prompt.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Well, that's great. Yeah, we really like that as an intro project for your students to really start taking themselves out of themselves and their needs and putting themselves in the shoes of somebody else. And these, characters are pretty extravagant and extraordinary, and it's fun to sort of design for their unique properties and needs. I'm going to reshare my screen. Actually, hold on. I'm going to present first and then I'm going to reshare my screen. So we have a couple intro activities. A lot of these are on our website. It's not working. It wouldn't be a Zoom meeting without technical difficulties, right? So we're just we're gonna roll right along, and I'm gonna share now. All right. So we really like that as one of our intro activities to get people thinking outside of themselves. and start to think about multimodal design and what does it mean to design for different senses. So how do you represent an object or concept? What mode? So what is it? Is it more of a tactile thing? Is it audio? Are you looking at light? What modes are going to be most useful for getting that concept across? What tools are you going to use for those modes? Really talking about the size of things. So if you're going to be exploring it with your fingers, how much can you really decipher from your touch? So what's your what's your limit of abilities there? Making sure that you're uncluttered, so you're not getting too much coming at your senses all at once. The unique characteristics. So in Extraordinaires, these people have some very unique characteristics that you need to design around. And what are those? And how can we start thinking about designing for those needs? And texture, especially in tactile, if you're going to be designing something tactilely, what kind of textures are you going to use, and how are you going to use those textures to get your ideas across? The picture here we have is from another one of our intro activities called Tactile Pictionary, and we really enjoy doing this one. It's very simple materials. We use wiki sticks and paper to design, and you really have to explore the object with your fingers to figure out what it is. And different designers will do very different things. So the prompt here was pig, and you can see three very different representations of a pig. And they're blindfolded when they're touching these things. And so it gets them thinking about, yeah, what are the characteristics of a pig that I need to get across so that someone else can understand what I'm trying to say. So the description of that activity is on our website in our introduction and projects. So I wanted to go a little bit.
Can I just add real quick?
Oh yeah, please.
One of the things that we like about doing this game is that often we find that kids through this game, either kids or adults, often come up with the kind of characteristics that help them in deciphering what a tactile image might be. So they soon realize, oh, the orientation of the page is really important. If you don't tell me where the top or the bottom is, I might not be able to, figure out what you're trying to communicate to me. And so they often are able to generate this list of some of the key things we want them to keep in mind just through playing the game. And so we like to kind of do that rather than providing them with a list of things they might want to keep in mind, really having them go through that process themselves so they can generate that list and get a sense of why those things are really important.
Yeah, I think the first time we played this activity with students, we realized pretty quickly that they were able to come up with that list themselves, which was brilliant. So Stacey touched on a little bit at the very beginning. There are a plethora of maker tools that you can use. And one really cool thing about this project is that you can use tools that are readily available at your local craft store, or you can use ones that are, high-tech machinery that you have available in your makerspace, and anything in between. So I'm going to take you through a few that we've used and how we've used them and how our partners have used them. But this is in no way a full list of stuff you can use to make these projects. So this is not an extensive list, it's just a list of some of them. And feel free, I can't see your chat right now, but feel free to put questions in the chat, and I'm sure Gigi and Stacey can monitor that while I go through them. So feel free to interrupt me at any point if you want to jump in and say something. So one of the simplest and the fastest ones we've used is craft materials. So things you can find around the house, things you can find at your local craft store. We find this really useful for making quick prototypes. You can get tons of different textures, and the students have a lot of fun putting these together. And making either using them as your only design tool, or using them to accessorize other maker tools or things you've made. Wiki sticks have been mentioned a few times, and so if you're not familiar with wiki sticks, you will be if you do anything with this project. They're basically like a string with a wax coating, and you can mold them into and remold them over and over again into different shapes, so they never dry out. And they're just a really fun way of making a very quick tactile line or image or drawing. We use them, as you can see on this slide, in making a tactile memory game. And so this was actually inspired by a group of students that we had that were a part of a focus group of blind teenagers. And they helped us co-create this tactile memory game where they can turn the cards over and feel the different designs. And that has been really, it's another fun sort of intro activity and very quick and easy. But wiki sticks are very versatile. You also heard, so excuse me, Shalini talk about them. She used a lot of those with her mother. Shalini has a degree in math, and she used them to make graph lines so she could feel the graphs and also create graphs for others. So they're very versatile material. 3D printing, if you happen to have a 3D printer around, some of the pros of 3D printing are your designs are easily reproducible all over the world for anybody who has a 3D printer. Some of the downsides of 3D printing is you're sort of limited on textures. So we talk about using different textures to get across different ideas. 3D printing, you're kind of stuck with a hard plastic at the moment. So, but you see one of our students designing there a book, The Very Busy Spider, and she has some 3D printed materials, some craft materials. She used a 3D printing pen. On the horse there, she actually used a 3D printing pen to augment the 3D print of the horse so she could accent the mane and the tail, which is pretty fun. And over on the right, we have sort of a collaborative project between Anne Cunningham and myself doing some sort of tactile graphing tool, so you can make different sized little pie wedges there. So it's very versatile. We actually, I think somewhere else on the slide, on the next slide, I have some 3D printing resources. And again, this slide will be available in the recording and on our website. Thingiverse is sort of a repository of a lot of different designs that people have done already. And so it's a nice place to start. I would take some things on Thingiverse with a grain of salt. They're not all designed for this project, obviously. So, but it's a good place to start to get a design and then modify it yourself. One of the free web-based modeling softwares we have used is called Tinkercad. I really like Tinkercad as an introductory 3D modeling program because A, it's free, it's web-based, and it's fairly simple, drop and drag, easy to use modeling software. I know that we've had other people use different things, which the names are escaping me, but I'm sure Ian will talk about them. There's a lot of different 3D modeling softwares out there. Tinkercad is one I've used for introductory. And then the 3D Doodler is one brand of 3D printing pen. And so this is something you can design using your hand. And it's used either to make the whole design, or you can use them to augment other designs or add texture to different materials. So there's a lot of different resources out there. And we have on our design gallery as well, we have designs that have been created in our programs and popped up there. These are free to download, augment, repopulate our website. We love this sort of co-sharing. And then the laser cutter has been a super versatile tool. We've used it in many different ways. It's super fun. And we have lots of examples of using that. You can use almost any different material. We've used wood, some plastics. This is called Taskboard over on the right. And that has just been a really fun way to quickly get designs out there. Ooh, there we go. The craft cutter is another sort of lower tech sort of laser cutter. Maybe not low tech, but lower price point for sure. We've used, Cricut, Silhouette. There's different brands of those. They're very easy to quickly cut out paper or vinyl. A lot of different materials you can use there. And something that is on here, the noun project, you're going to want to bookmark that because it's a fabulous place to get lots of really great quick designs for almost anything, so that it has icons for every noun available. So the noun project is a really fun place. We've also added sound to a lot of our projects using a variety of different things. So Makey Makey is one where you use touch to make things make sound. The Bear Interactive Soundboard is also a good one. And we've used these Spectrum sound rings, which are sort of up here. They're also, it's bought by Spiro now. So they're called Spectrums, but they use color to translate that into a sound, and you can make your own sounds. So that's kind of a fun way to augment books. And we have some examples of some projects that have used Makey Makey. So Ian, this is a project from Ian's group. And using the Bear Conductive Board, we had this whole game, which used a lot of different things, the laser cutter, the 3D printer, and the Bear board to make different sounds. It's also in 3 different languages. There's just so much you can do with a lot of these. We have a quick example. Oh, of course, I didn't share my sound. This is pretty fun, so I'm gonna share. I'm just gonna do this again. So, oh, I did share sound. Oh, look at me. See, this is an example of the spectrums. So, and a little fun giggle at the end, just for fun. That's an example of using the color on the page to then translate that into a sound. So those are some super fun. Here's some examples of some student designed books using a lot of those different technologies. I won't go into all of them now, but we can share a lot of information about that. We've moved beyond books, so I know that we're Build a Better Book, but don't let that limit yourself. We've moved into any sort of anything. Games have been super popular. So this sort of came out of one of our focus groups that they really want to play family games with their family, and not being able to see has been a hard way to interact with a lot of games. And so, oh my gosh, so many design games. They're pretty fun. I won't go into all of them here. More Build a Better Game with students designing games for others, which is great. And we have some examples of books. So this was making standard-based kits to that other people can use, and they're using Makey Makey to put sound in there, and just really designing for all different. They're getting science concepts across in different ways. So it's really supporting the student that's making the kit, but then also whoever's using the kit. And another example of some student designed kits that were then in libraries that be able to be checked out. So that is a fun. And really we've talked a little bit about this, but getting feedback and iterating on your design, we found is really important for the design and really important for the designers. So they really get this feedback from end users and then redesign. We make better products, and it's also a much more enriching experience for the students. So this is a couple of our blind mentors helping our students to refine their products. Stacey, do you want to take it away with our network map?
And I would just say, just to add to the piece about the community mentors, I think they've played such a huge part in the project and really in helping students get a better sense of, really understanding that people who are blind can have amazing abilities and can do all kinds of things that they didn't realize. And, one of the really important parts of this project for us is really to make sure that we're positioning blindness not as, students who can't see are less than or need help or but just helping them to recognize that a lot of materials that surround us in the world aren't designed for people who can't see. Everything is so most things are really designed with sighted individuals in mind. And so really helping students see that we need to think about, a whole variety of abilities as we design, and that design can really help to support whole range of individuals with different abilities in doing a lot of amazing things. And so we've had a really wonderful experience working with some community mentors in our programs, and we really encourage partners, if they're implementing this project, to really reach out to partners in your community. We have some resources on our website, but we also encourage you to reach out to partners in your school district or maybe in your community, because that has really been a valuable part for students who have participated in having an audience for their products that they've designed, and also getting feedback and being able to improve their products. So I think that Kat and Gigi have recently added some new partners to the map here. This has been a really exciting development for us, as this kind of seeing how this project has grown and seeing interest in Build a Better Book from a lot of different people in different types of settings. And so that's been a really exciting piece. And we wanted to point out that part of the really cool thing about this network is the people that are in this network are really excited to work with and share with each other. And so we have, some of this we see happening over social media. We also have an email listserv and a Slack group. And what we'll see is that a lot of times we might not see anything on those for a while. And then there's this kind of, bubble of conversation when somebody has an issue, or they run into, they have a question, or they've, encountered a new technology that they think could be a really cool addition to Build a Better Book. And they put that out there, and there's this kind of resulting conversation. So one of the neat things about being part of this group, and we're hoping, even though we're virtual in this conference, we're hoping we can still foster that during some of the breakout groups tomorrow, especially when we have everybody in the network participating. It's just letting you know kind of who else is a part of this network and how they might help, or the kinds of feedback you might be able to get. Just like, speaking of which, Neil McKenzie just entered the room. So one of our partners who's provided some really great feedback to some other groups working on projects. So I had just shared here a few things that, we had seen over social media. It's really exciting for us when we see different partners in the network sharing projects they're working on and tagging other partners that have provided feedback. So you can see April is a partner in Alabama. She works in the school district there, and she had been working with the Birmingham Zoo to actually create a tactile map for the zoo, but she'd been getting some feedback from some of our partners in California, Neil and Leslie, who are in the room right now. So seeing some of that feedback take place is really exciting. So just wanted to emphasize that, and know that you can kind of reach out to others in the group if you have questions, or if you want information for how different partners have brought the program to their site. We have a number of resources on our website, buildabetterbook.org. We had a lot of our lesson plans and some of our kind of startup resources had been housed on a different platform that recently disappeared, Workbench platform. So we're still working to kind of populate some of those lesson plan resources on the website, but you can also kind of find resources for getting started, as well as a design gallery where you can see other projects that educators have done with their students. So that might help to prompt some ideas. And a lot of those groups have also shared their design files. So you're welcome to remix. One of the things that we're hoping to prompt more of is not always having everybody start from scratch, but really building off of earlier designs that others may have started, so that we can kind of keep refining those designs to be even kind of more improved products. And a few kind of resources here for our social media. I would say we're probably most active on Twitter, and our handle there is Build Better Book, but we also have pages on some of these other sites. A note that if you do Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, if you aren't already aware, there are ways that you can turn on your accessibility settings within your social media profile. And that allows you to add alt text to any images that you share. So we encourage you, if you're going to be posting, especially if you're going to be sharing some of your projects that you're doing related to Build Better Book, we have a number of members of our community who are visually impaired or who are blind, and it would be really great if they can interact with your posts as well. So we encourage you to check out your accessibility settings on your social media so that you can add alt text to any images that you share. And we have a hashtag because our friends in Alabama are they're a lot better at social media than we are, and they've encouraged us to create a hashtag. So we have Build Better Book 21 is our hashtag for this workshop. So you are welcome to kind of tweet with others and share using that hashtag. There's our website. So we're happy to take any questions. We know that was kind of a lot of a broad overview about the project, but really just wanted to start off just by giving you a general idea of what is this project all about? What are some of the tools that people have used? But again, keeping that flexible because we know people have used it in all different ways with both low and high tech materials available to them, and let you know some about some of the partners that are available to help you as you get started. Anyone have any questions? You can either put questions in the chat or feel free to unmute yourself.
Comments, your favorite tool, we're open. Most fun is really making our students just see them come to this realization. I know Stacey touched on it, that things in the world are not created for everybody and everybody's abilities. And so seeing them realize like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's right. How would I interact with this if I didn't have sight or sound or whatever it is really amazing. Anyway.
Yeah, I think that tends to be the biggest, kind of the most universal like aha moment for most of the kids participating is often this is just something we hear a lot from participants that it's just something they haven't really thought about before. And then once this issue has kind of, once they're aware of it, then they start seeing it everywhere and they start kind of noticing things that might not work well for someone who can't see, or for maybe something that doesn't work well for someone who's in a wheelchair or who has some other disability. And so we also want to kind of broaden things there as well. Although the project was initially designed and thinking about designing for children and youth who are blind or visually impaired, we have had other partners take this in different directions based on student groups that they were working with. So know that there's a lot of flexibility. We've seen it really implemented successfully in a whole range of environments and settings. And so there is a lot of flexibility to take it in the way that's going to work for your organization.